What is going on, everybody? It is the Digital Cypha. I am Ebonics, and I'm joined with the Don CJG and Dio Zales. What is going on? What is going on, panel?
Good
How you
morning.
doing? How you doing? Good
Awesome.
after morning.
After morning. Yeah, it is. It is 5 hours ahead. Is it ahead, right? Or behind?
Yes.
Yeah.
3 p.m. right now.
Oh wow. Yeah, dedicated. Well, so we have a lot to discuss today. It's been an interesting week. Things that include Twitch, includes Epic Games, includes a little bit about Resident Evil, Naughty Dog, the March update. Some specifics from the Don CJG, what he's gathered, as well as Dio Zales. The roundtable that has happened this past week, alongside some games that came out this past week, 20 to be exact, from Bethesda, and then we're just going to discuss a little bit about something about Game Pass. So to begin, Epic Games has acquired a new company. That new company is called Capture Reality. Capture Reality basically specializes in photogrammetry software that takes images and basically spits out 3D models. So if you think about it, if I showed you a picture of a ball, and then in your mind you already have like a 3D object of that ball, this software is going to put that in the Epic Engine. Technically, what they're planning to do is put in an Epic Engine within seconds, hopefully. So this is going to change gaming, it's going to change movies, it's going to change visual effects big time. So that's one of the things that came across, was Epic Games acquiring Capturing Reality. The software is called Reality Capture. Interesting. It's like backwards. Backwards. The next thing is that Twitch, this is interesting. Let me know what you guys think about this, but Twitch has created a system, or has been putting a system in play, called Brand Safety Score. This application, or API, is going to monitor, well, actually it's going to score a streamer based on, number one, their age, their ban history, their relationship with Twitch, how they use auto modding in their channel, the types of games that they stream, the ESRB rating, whether or not they choose to make their channel mature or not based on those settings, the manual rating. So sometimes when you're streaming, for instance, Don is playing Halo, and then I hit up Don and say, hey Don, let's go play the Division. He switches the game into the Division, but then his game still says Halo. And it doesn't switch from, casual, friendly to mature. It just stays where it's at. So they're looking at things like that based on what I've read, and also keyword usage, which is interesting because I'm still wondering how Twitch uses keywords. To me, I think that's more of a YouTube thing. But what do you guys think about that? Like Twitch scoring people on that?
I mean, it's interesting and new. I think with Twitch being so big, maybe scoring people is a better idea. With there being so many content on there, I think it depends what you're looking for too. If you're a kid, or you don't want to be jumping into someone's stream who's not really appropriate for that. So yeah, without actually like seeing it implement, it's really kind of hard for me to kind of gauge it. But
Gotcha.
I think the idea is something I could be into, as long as they're not gonna get to a point where people are kind of, I guess, shadow banned or not gonna show up on the list because of their certain rating.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. What about you, Dio?
I agree mostly with Don. The only thing I would really be worried about is how it could negatively affect smaller streamers,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it comes to like like what's it called, 4chan, like when they had their 4chan raids, you know what I mean? Um, that could be a possible thing. I don't know if they've thought over, but it really depends on the community, right? Like in the end of the day, that's what's gonna be the biggest factor. How is the community fairly rating things?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the thing about it is, and it's good. There's a purpose behind it, but I wanted to get that out the way so I get your opinion on it. First and foremost, Lewis, thank you for jumping in and listening to the podcast. Feel free to ask any questions based on what you hear, because it's going to be pretty deep this today. But so the score seems to be used for ad targeting purposes. That's one thing. And they're using the system to deliver ads to the appropriate communities. Now, I left that out for a specific reason. Not everything that is said ends up being used for the intended purposes. Sometimes when technology and software goes above and beyond its use, because it's so good that it actually does the job for other things, it then becomes, oh, we're also using it for this or for that. And in one way, I agree with the scoring. And I think the scoring should be something that when people are looking at Twitch channels, the score is there and people can decide whether or not they want to watch it, versus Twitch dictating someone to whether someone's worth watching or not, right? So let me flip it this way. So the ad part of it, which is why this article was written, is they will score you so that when advertisers want to put their video out there, they're going out there specifically for those who have a specific score or meet certain requirements. So instead of guessing who is the right streamer for their ads, that score would then put ads on the necessary Twitch channel that is meeting those requirements score-wise.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, right? But let's say they end up using this scoring for something else, which we then discussed as everybody voiced their opinion. That's where I kind of felt that if this becomes a thing, so you have your viewership rating, like how many views you're being, that's looking at your channel right now, right? And then you have your score. Then somebody can then think, okay, they can hover over that score and see what is and what isn't, and then decide if they want to continue to watch it. Because how many times you've looked at somebody's stream, they have thousands of views, but then they're not your ideal streamer, right? At the end of the day. So that's one of the things I'm thinking of. But it's either here and there. It's based on what these guys are gonna do with it, and that's that. So other than that, Resident Evil, The Village. Apparently, there have been some emails going out to random people saying that they can get early access to the game.
Okay.
The reason why I'm mentioning this is because it is a concern. If you see that email and it's coming from noreply@capcom.com, it is a fake. It is a phishing scam. So you are warned. I'm only saying this because we believe that our community within this channel wants, remain safe, from, any form of, malware, whatever. So if Dio plays a lot of, zombie type games. So when he gets out there, he starts streaming those things, somebody wouldn't come in the channel and be like, oh yeah, you guys recommended The Village and then it was a scam because something you hear it today. If you see that email, delete it. It is a scam. It's not going to benefit you whatsoever. Okay. Naughty Dog. Did you hear about Naughty Dog?
No.
I did not hear about Naughty Dog.
Okay, I know we're not centric. We're not centric to Naughty Dog, but Naughty Dog is creating a multiplayer game.
Okay.
Hmm.
I did hear about this. Okay, yep.
And there's a job where they're looking for a online economy designer. Dio, can you break down what that means? Because I've never heard of an online economy designer before.
So that means, more than likely, in my opinion, that they're looking. This multiplayer game is going to be free to play.
Okay.
So they want to figure out how they can do microtransactions in a tasteful way. Hopefully, I would imagine it's probably going to be like maybe Among Us Online, because I know Part 1 had a multiplayer version, but Part 2 does not at the moment.
Yes.
And I think that's the route they're going to go. They're going to make a free-to-play version of that to satisfy that consumer base that's been wanting that in Part 2.
Yeah. Is this a really weird silence that suddenly happened?
Yeah. You hear about it?
My bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
I started reading at this thing and I was like, wait, what? My bad. So
I was just like, what's going
I got so afraid.
oh no, man.
Yeah, right.
I got disconnected.
So the job ad states that the online economy designer is responsible for creating a meaningful reward system for players, ensuring the game remains engaging for a long time. And one of the things that they see is that it's going to also include customization and cosmetics.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Pretty much a battle pass.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's
Yeah, when
doing-
I hear online economy, I'm definitely thinking kind of battle pass, kind
Okay.
of live service game. It's
So-
exactly what I'm feeling. Yeah.
All right, so you heard it, guys. Naughty Dog is making a multiplayer game. From the words of Dio and Don CJG, they anticipate a battle pass, free to play. I want to say MMO multiplayer. It's funny.
No.
It's funny. People confuse multiplayer with MMOs, or or anything above 5. Characters playing on a screen, when technically, to me, multiplayer is like just 2 people.
See, I'd say Mueblo is co-op.
Exactly.
2 players co-op. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I'd even stretch it. To me, multiplayer is anything like from 2 to 20. For me, for MMO, you got to hit 50 plus. Like it has to be like 100. I want to see 100 people on one
So
screen.
is it
trying to
Battle
do it.
Royale multiplayer?
Dumb.
Yeah, I
He's
would
like-
consider.
He's like, yeah, I want to see 20 plus. I want to see 50. I want to see 100. It's not about you.
I want to see 200.
I want to see giant, massive armies at each other's throats.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
god.
what was that game on PC a while ago?
Civilization.
500 people.
It's-
No, it was a shooter. Can't remember what it was called.
Oh.
It was around the time Battlefield 3 and 4 were out.
Is he talking about what the joint that we were talking about, Dio? What's the name of that game?
That kind of space looking.
Yo, and it's the one that we said that kind of outsiders remind us of because of how computer centric it kind of felt. Walking around and moving.
Mhm.
Oh gosh.
Oh, I wish I knew the name of that game.
Yeah, I'm
'Cause-
drawing a blank too.
No. You remember because we were playing the game and I mentioned it, and it was one of the games that Al was also invested in, like seriously invested in.
Oh, let me see that.
Oh,
Open
No Man's
world.
Sky?
No. It's
No.
a shooter. It's a third-person shooter.
No. It's a shooter.
Space
Oh.
shooter, sci-fi. Hundreds of people shooting at an alien, big huge alien. Come on, that's the first boss. I'm forgetting.
Are you talking about Defiance?
Defiance. There we go. That's gotta be
Okay.
it.
Oh, that's not what I was thinking about.
That's definitely what I was thinking.
What were you
Yeah.
thinking about?
No, I don't remember the name of what I'm thinking about. Oh no.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so this past week we had the March update. So apparently the FPS boost and the auto HDR should have been released. Hopefully, I know the auto HDR
Yes,
is,
I think.
but the FPS boost is definitely a thing. Based on what they're saying is that the FPS boost doubles or quadruples the frame rate of select games. So that's going to be very cool. And then for those that don't know, the auto HDR or high dynamic range visuals puts high dynamic range visuals on games with standard range. So for games back on a 360 or even maybe like say on the original Xbox, and then you start seeing some very sweet, graphics, some shaders, glistening into the sun, you'd be like, man, when did this game get so pretty? Power of the X. And then the wireless headset began to ship this week. I got a notification that mine is gonna show up on Tuesday.
Sweet.
Ooh.
So a little.
I'm excited to hear what you think.
Okay. Yeah. Well, here's something. It's gonna start utilizing the Xbox app.
Yes, I did see that.
Which is also on Windows 10. So it's gonna be both for Windows 10 and for Xbox. So you'll be able to modify the what is it called? Equalizer settings, auto mute sensitivity, and mic monitoring. I'm very stoked for the ambience, being able to remove ambience from the background and stuff like that when talking. It's going to be pretty nice.
Yeah,
giving you like a whole like software base to deal with the headset. I think that's really cool, man.
Yeah, man. And then the achievements are coming back to the Xbox mobile app. So that's
Thank God.
Nice.
Yeah.
Honestly, that was when they updated the app, I was like, this looks great. Where are the achievements? As someone who loves
It's
achievements,
real.
I was so annoyed that they removed that feature. I felt personally attacked.
I agree. One thing I think, because not everybody uses this feature, I like the progress system within the achievements. Like when you actually see your achievement grow because you're doing something repetitively up until its max point, and then boom, you got the achievement. I like that. Not everybody uses it, but I wish everybody did. What do you guys think about the Windows Edge coming to Xbox?
I like it.
That leads into a whole other topic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, as someone who uses Edge right now on Xbox, it's a pile of garbage. I don't like it that much, to be honest. It's a bit slow, it's a bit clunky. And I'm glad they're kind of upgrading the browser for console. I feel like it's quite useful. As someone who doesn't really have like a computer or anything like that, and you don't really want to go on your phone, having it available on your console is really cool. But optimizing that experience and upgrading that browser, and obviously the capability, what that's going to lead into, I'm sure we're going to talk about, will be really cool.
Well, one of the reasons why they're changing this is because they're phasing out the original or the legacy Windows Edge that shipped with Windows 10. They're building the Windows Edge now, or they have built it with the Chromium engine, right? So we're starting to see the shift now because they're pushing it in Windows 10, but they're also pushing it for the Xbox, and we're also seeing why they did it. And I know Don is going to talk about it, but well, Don, I'll let you take the floor. What advantages do you see with the Xbox getting the new Edge browser?
Well, one of the things, obviously it's running on Chromium engine now, is Google Stadia could be able to run on your Xbox.
Yep.
So that's a big thing. We never thought I'd be able to say that. But that's the kind of big thing I was alluding to, and I think that's going to be a big, interesting thing, because you think about if Game Pass comes to PC through browsers already, and PlayStation as well, and we're getting Stadia on Xbox. There's a lot of weird like cross-platform stuff going on right now. It's super interesting.
Yes.
That's what's up. It's interesting that you said that, because the other thing too is that the NVIDIA GeForce Now is also
Yes.
an app that can be used on
Correct.
the Windows Edge. What you got on that deal?
I mean, that's just pretty cool because that literally brings PC games to the Xbox, right? So
Yep.
like,
Wait, hold on. Are you smiling from ear to ear right now? Because that's what it sounds like.
I am, because that's just such a cool workaround, you know, where you could literally play a game like Death Stranded, right? A PlayStation exclusive, you know, since like, you know, people like to say it is, even though it's on PC, but I could play Death Stranded on my Xbox now because of that. I think that is just so crazy.
Well, you gotta make sure that you capitalize on that app before it's been patched, because you already know I jumped on that one joint. I forgot the name of it, and I was playing Final Fantasy 14 on the Xbox, and then they took it off. they took it off. So
You thinking they might block that capability out?
yeah, it's possible. The problem that I'm also having, that, and I spoke to Dia about this. What was it called? Rainway. It was called Rainway, and I downloaded the Rainway app, and I was able to play everything. Like I had the Pokemon, the competitor game. I forgot what it's called. On there on my PC. So when I went to the Xbox, I loaded up Rainway, and I played the game on the Xbox. Because it had controller support, I was able to do that. I brought up Final Fantasy, but then I had to use the mouse and keyboard. Unfortunately, there was an update on the Xbox. I did the update, and it was gone. So, you know, that's the unfortunate thing. But even so, it probably still wouldn't have been having to work, because when you look at the shift that Microsoft is making with how they do updates, they're doing more incremental updates that doesn't require your console to restart.
Patch. Yeah.
Right. We're looking at things that could be patched that, you know, may not have been a part of the agreement that Microsoft has made with other publishers, but then these app developers who are putting things on the Windows Store using the UWP or D, and it's coming onto the Xbox, it's been flagged as good to go, but then you're using it outside the confines of what Microsoft is saying. I'm saying the users, not the developer, but the users are saying, hey, we can do this or we can do that with this app. Boom.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. There was a lot of for a period. There's a lot of like, illegal movie app on the Xbox Store. Download. It was insane.
Dude, I'm still watching. I'm still on the what is it called? The Asian drama joint. It has like crazy amount of Asian, like Korean and Japanese and Chinese drama and stuff, from movies to sitcoms and whatever. So it's interesting that you said that, because it is true. But yeah, Google Stadia app would be available. Technically is available for the preview, the insider preview guys over there. So that's a major win. Don CJG.
Hello, Ebon.
You got some stuff for us.
Oh, we do have some stuff.
What is going on with EA?
Have some stuff. EA. Ooh. This is a spicy topic. When I heard this, I was, I wish I could say I was surprised.
You were surprised?
I wish I could say I was surprised. But it just seems, EA makes some great games, don't get me wrong. But I feel like they have a recurring theme of just getting themselves into trouble.
True.
Which isn't necessarily to do with the company as a whole, but more to do with some kind of backdoor activities from employees. I don't know if you guys looked at the video and links appropriate to the story. Well, essentially, the story is kind of looking at FIFA Ultimate Team, which is a kind of big multiplayer experience in the FIFA games. Kind of EA's personal money farm, to some extent. So what's been happening? A Twitter account called FIFA Ultimate Team Arcade on Twitter has actually been leaking screenshots of chats from websites, which are from alleged EA employees selling rare cards to players for crazy amounts of money. I'm talking from about a couple $100s to thousands of dollars for these super rare kind of player cards.
Oh wow.
And yeah, so it's a bit crazy that people are going to these kind of weird kind of backdoor websites to trade money for these cards. And what's been happening is there was a while ago, I think it was last year, maybe year before, were kind of forced to disclose the odds of some of their packs, which they kind of did, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying because some of the top tier players within those packs have a chance of less than 1%, which it's low, but what less than 1% mean? Is that 0.1? Is that 0.01?
Yeah.
You know? So, there's a lot of kind of room for, how crazy it is to get these players. You could open $500 worth of a pack and not get this player if you wanted, or you could go straight to these websites and buy directly for, potentially less money than you have to spend on packs.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And these are literally EA employees, some of them saying screenshots basically like, hey, look, give me your PSN or gamer tag ID and your email address and we can just send it straight to you. And these guys are literally like making thousands of dollars per transaction. And it's crazy, man. It's actually insane that this is happening. And people are kind of resorted to go into these websites to get top tier players. And I saw a screenshot where someone must have spent like $5,000 and they just had a fully stacked team.
Wow.
It's insane.
Wow.
It's absolutely insane. So EA said they're kind of looking at the issue internally. But I don't know what they're gonna do, man. Someone's gotta get fired, right?
It's kind of sad because EA is already under fire as an organization, as a company.
Mm-hmm.
So now that you said these are employees.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Someone has access somewhere on the back door of EA.
Wow.
To be kind of putting out these transactions for people, man.
Gotcha. Talk about the Game Pass speculation. What's going on with that?
Yeah, Game Pass speculation. Right, so Game Pass actually put out a tweet last night. See if I can find the quote directly here for you guys.
Pull out
and
the
it was
scrolls.
basically, here we go. So Game Pass have these things where they like to put like fake leaked emails out, kind of hinting towards what's coming to Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
And they put one out yesterday saying, "Hey team, so much news today. Hope you didn't mind if I add some more. But it's completely unrelated to other announcements. That new game has been confirmed and officially coming to the service. As always, keep this confidential. Before I go, I did have something I wanted to ask. Has anyone noticed a mysterious signal appearing in the distance or lately? Or might be an anomaly in this situation?" Weird question, I know. And people kind of took that, kind of running with the story. And people started drawing some comparisons towards Outriders, actually. And people noticed that keywords anomaly and mysterious signal are actually within the store page for Outriders.
Oh, really?
Is Outriders coming towards Game Pass on day one? Is that what could be happening right now?
Well, I can believe potentially that could be a thing. We're talking about two studios who may not be directly involved relationship-wise with Xbox or Microsoft. So the first one is People Can Fly. They were specifically with Epic Games, and then they moved with Square Enix.
Right.
Yes.
So with that move, I can't see it happening unless Square already did something with Microsoft. You know what I'm saying? Like if it was like a heavy promotion, like even before, like do we see anything heavy now?
Well, I could see it because we have all these Final Fantasy games that are finally moving on to Xbox and they're on Game Pass.
Yeah.
And then not only that, what better way to make sure your game doesn't fail like
True.
Avengers did?
True.
Right?
Yep.
True.
get all those people on it, so you could take advantage of that. But I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, it's
Ooh.
definitely a possibility, but it's crazy that
Yeah.
it's been quiet for this long, right?
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Because the Avengers was more of a PS push with the inclusion of Xbox. You know what I'm saying? That's how it came across to me. We're like, oh yeah, it's when you see the commercials, you see PlayStation, but then you know it's coming to Xbox anyway. You know what I'm saying? But it was heavily pushed on PlayStation. So now I get what you're saying. I agree. You know, I'm just wondering, because the only other anomaly that exists out in the gaming space would be Mass Effect and and EA.
Yep.
Yeah.
Specifically, the trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That could be considered a new game. But that's just me, you know, thinking.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
EA Play is part of Game Pass, and I
Right.
think that is gonna be on EA Play day one.
Yeah.
So then would it count?
It's
then? Would it actually count since it's already on EA Play?
But no, it's definitely something to think about. And I think especially with Destiny 2 being on Game Pass as well, Outriders is a direct competitor. It's kind of
Yeah.
spicy.
Yeah. But you see,
it's not
I
spicy.
can't compare Outriders to Destiny. I really can't.
All right.
The only thing I could compare them to Destiny is 3-player co-op, you know, and their weapon skins and how they, those are crazy looking. I'm like, yo, those weapons are just straight nasty. Yo, I when I saw those pictures, I'm like, man, Destiny got some new weapons. What? And then I'm looking down and I was like, that's Outriders. I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Say no more. But it's not a what is it called? It's not a subscription service. It's not going to be a subscription service, from what I understand. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, it's not yet, right? I mean, there's always a possibility, because I mean, we've seen these companies say they're not going to put microtransactions in their games, and they add them later. So, depending on the success of it, like, why wouldn't they expand on it? You know?
Yeah, technically, because of what they're using, like the Play Lab, right? That Microsoft provides for developers, they could go, you know, MMO. If you know, they could go Destiny. It just depends. But yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I think it's definitely the same genre, though. I mean, it does enough on its own to be different, but I mean, it's within the Destiny Warframe.
Yeah, it's within that.
realm.
Yeah, kind of circle, I guess. But that is not all for Game Pass, I assume, though. Eh? there was some more games that got added. Just a handful of Bethesda games.
Yeah.
What about Halo? What's going on with Halo, Dom?
Oh, Halo. Ah, boy, oh boy. So, obviously 2 weeks ago, we had our last Inside Infinite discussion with 343. They put out a little blog post. And then 2 weeks later, they usually bring out a kind of video called Ask 343. But they kind of take community questions and they kind of clarify some points from the latest blog and give you a bit more detail. Okay. So they actually released a 44-minute video.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah, that took me by surprise, because when I got sent that link, when I woke up, I had to double check how long that video was. I was like, okay. So I watched that about 2 times, and I made another thread.
You watch a 44-minute video twice.
Yeah, I made a thread on Hit a Waypoint, kind of, you know, putting it all together, summarizing all the points, and kind of get a you know, kind of engagement level from the community to see what people are thinking. So I'll get through the just some of the minor points before we get into the current Halo Civil War, what's taking place.
Okay.
So basically, the whole world of Halo is actually gonna be a fully 3D rendered model. So you can't actually go exploring the whole thing. That, you know, it's ginormous. But that means that position of the sun and all that in the background in the skybox you can actually be eclipsed by the world. So he's getting a lot of cool lighting scenarios from that.
Oh wow.
You can push stuff the edge of the ring. And there's gonna be like some wind. They said there's gonna be wind effects. I don't know how that's gonna necessarily play.
It depends, because we've seen how wind affected gamers when they played Gears of War 5 with the tornado, lightning.
Same with the last Destiny expansion. They had a bit of wind on there.
Okay.
Yep.
Maybe some fog, some wildlife will kind of react to you. Not gonna be anything hostile, but you're gonna see that kind of living world a bit more.
You gotta protect the animals.
It's gonna be like, there's gonna be like marines and stuff in the world, and you're gonna. What an interesting thing they said, kind of stuck out to me, is that it's when you explore these worlds, say you're playing Skyrim or I don't know whatever kind of open world you play, you kind of get these random encounters, I guess.
Okay.
You kind of come across enemies in the world.
Okay.
And they were saying they're kind of molding that experience towards you in the game. So if I'm on foot, I'm going to get more interactions based on me being on foot. Or if I'm in an air vehicle, I might come across anti-air vehicles, or try to shoot me down. Or if I'm in a tank, I might come across heavy armored. They're kind of tailoring that experience more to what you're actually doing. Yeah. All the cutscenes are rendered in Live Engine as well.
Nice.
So you're not gonna suddenly be playing at nighttime and have a daytime cutscene. That would be a bit jarring,
Yep.
And I guess they were also saying that they were kind of grateful to have more time to work on the game.
Okay.
Which, I'll get into that a bit more later on when we talk about Bethesda and whatnot.
Okay.
Because they kind of touched on that. But there was also so my Twitter page is quite tailored towards Halo and Xbox at the minute. Okay. And there's been some controversy within the points I mentioned. There's some other stuff. 343 also confirmed that there's been no dual wielding like Halo 2 and 3, and no playable elites. And the
what does that mean?
On fire.
What does that mean? No playable elites. What does that mean specifically?
So if I don't know if you played a lot of Halo 3, Halo 2, Reach.
I have, but
yeah, you could play as elites, multiplayer.
Okay, gotcha.
And they're basically saying in Halo Infinite, that's not gonna be a thing.
Uh-huh.
And which for me, that's fine, because I think it's just a vocal minority who are asking for it. But all of Halo Waypoint, all of Halo Twitter is just literally a giant fight. It's a giant fight at Hellscape right now, with people just being so angry after. People are, I wish I'd saved the tweet, but basically someone was saying that just because the developer didn't add the thing you want doesn't mean they're incompetent. Right. I feel like everyone's just flaming 343 yet again, just because they're not making the game that
they want.
Someone.
Yeah. But exactly. You see, here's the thing: if they didn't say anything like that, they just let it alone, people wouldn't even think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Because
then it's like the game launches and there's no leads, and it's why didn't you tell us?
But is it in Halo 5?
No.
Is it in Halo 4?
It hasn't been in there. Nope.
So technically, you can see that there's been a progression away from that. Not that they don't want to add it, but it's just that to the core elements of like storytelling and what's going on and immersion and just PvP, PvE gameplay, like what is it called? Firefight, right? There's just certain things that they didn't include because they didn't think it would be necessary. I mean, but it wasn't in 4 and 5. So if you're screaming about that now,
this is the thing. It's been a natural shift for so many years at this point. I get why people are mad they're taking away a level of customization, for players, but I feel like it's the lesser of two evils to have no elites and have greater Spartan customization and a more balanced multiplayer.
Look,
rather than just throw in.
I could understand dual
wielding.
wielding. Dual wielding was like, yo, I suck at this game, but
Hmm.
once I have those two needlers, oh, it's done. Come to me, let me take you out. You know what I'm saying? And watch you explode. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo. But I never really understood the whole elite thing, and I can care less about it. Now, I'm not a diehard person, so take it for what you want. But I've owned every Xbox, I've owned every Halo game. You know what I'm saying? I played it all. So, but I've never really invested time into all its features. So playing as elites didn't really appeal to me, like that. But if the community wants it, that's just something that they can consider later on. Is the game still has to be released, And that's why
this is it. They said the way we talk about Halo Infinite is that it's an expanding game over the years. There's the way they're setting up a single player, the way they're setting up a multiplayer. Things are going to be added. It's not an outright, this will never happen, but I guess if enough people want it, they could add it, but I just don't see it being a whole thing, and people out here boycotting the game over it. It's just like,
no, you probably
I feel
already...
like if someone doesn't want to buy the game over the fact that there's certain playable characters, I think that's just a bit ridiculous.
You've probably already touched on this, but the question would be, is Halo Infinite going to be a part of the Master Chief's collection?
I don't believe so.
Can we assume, based on all the conversations being said, that Halo Infinite is going to be its own Master Chief collection type of style?
Potentially. I think there was a quote a while ago where it said Halo Infinite's going to set up the next 10 years of Halo. It doesn't necessarily mean Infinite's going to have a 10-year plan for the individual game. You might just be kicking off the next few years, and then, because they're saying it's a spiritual reboot of a whole franchise, there could be spin-offs and add-ons and whatnot. But I think Infinite's going to be a big part in the future of the game, where MCC is going to be that kind of legacy platform for all your older content. Then Halo 5 just kind of exists in this weird middle ground.
Okay. Cool. Wow. So that was a lot. That was a lot. That was coming from Don CJG. Mostly, he plays the Halo stuff. So if you guys are on the Xbox or PC and you want to jump into a faction or a community of Halo gamers, Don CJG has a crazy community that he's involved with that can help you get into the game. So just reach out to him. He's on Twitter. How they can get you, we'll discuss that at the end. But Dio,
yes sir.
When I think of Dio, I think Dio, he's like a kid at heart, when it comes to games. Because at one point in time he's playing like Dead by Daylight, and then another point he's playing Ninja Turtles. What's going on? What do you got for us, Dio?
Well, talk about Ninja Turtles. There's actually a new beat 'em up coming out. It's gonna be called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge.
Yeah.
And if you play those old school ones like Turtles in Time, or like those arcade ones where you had like the 4 players there and you would just chuck, quarters in there and try to beat the game.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's gonna be like that spiritual successor to that, and I'm pretty hyped about that because the last time we had a game like that was like 30 years ago.
I agree.
Yeah, I remember playing Ninja Turtle games when I was a kid. That was a long time ago, man.
Bro.
There was some that came out by, I think it was like Activision who made them, but it wasn't the same, So I'm really hyped about it, especially because the people working on it. I don't know if you guys have played on the Game Boy Advance back in the day, the Scott's Pilgrim's The World versus the World.
I got that on the Xbox actually though.
Pretty okay, nice. So those lead devs from that game are making this.
Nice.
Ooh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's I expect a lot. I think it's gonna be really fun, and even like the preview of watching it, what they have so far, it looks like it's gonna be a really fun game, and definitely something that you could have fun with, like your friends, your kids, your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. Like who's not gonna want to play it? I think. The only people who are not gonna want to play it are just people who are determined not to have fun, right?
it's one of those couch co-op type of experiences where
Yes.
this is before split screen, like 4-player split screen. This is like everybody's on the same screen. You couldn't move left
Yeah.
or right. Everybody's fighting and then we move as a team. Yo, it's bringing back flashbacks, especially during the fire apartment trying to save April from, what was it, not the rhino dude, not the pig, what is it, Rocksteady and Bebop, I forgot which one, whose name
Yeah.
is who.
Rocksteady Bebop. Yep.
But man, like, to see that come back for next gen would be so epic. I agree. That's something worth looking into.
Oh yeah, I'm really excited about that.
What's going on with WoW in this update? Have you heard anything about that?
With World of Warcraft,
Yeah, there has some form of update that happened a while back, this week.
you know, it's funny that you said that because I looked at it real quick and I don't even remember because I haven't really been keeping up with World of Warcraft recently.
Got you. But what you have been keeping up with was Roblox.
Yeah, well, yeah.
What's
I
going?
mean, I can't help it. The investor in me, I was like, "What? Roblox is selling stock now?"
What's going on? I mean, my little girl plays Roblox. I mean, and okay, let me ask it from a stock perspective. Hey Jen, how you doing? Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat, Jen. I'm not really a stock person, right? But if you can only afford one stock, is it worth buying one stock versus putting in like 100 stocks into one company? You know what I'm saying? Like, because Roblox, they are heavy when it comes to how they are valued. I mean, they are worth a lot of money. So,
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
they beat Ubisoft on you know, on how much they're worth. So, and they
How
only,
did that happen, huh?
and it's just one game. Ubisoft is like a complete publisher. So, like, what is your take? If somebody says, "Oh, you're talking about Roblox and their stock is like between $65 and $75, I drop $100 on them," but is that a right decision? You know what I'm saying?
So, you know, first of all, anyone listening, I am not your financial advisor. I am not a CPA. This is just my opinion, speculation.
You gotta say it.
You gotta say it.
You gotta say it.
But you know, it debuted at $64.50. I know it hit like a high of like about $75 and change,
Okay.
and right now it's sitting at $69.80.
Okay.
So it's gonna keep going up and down. The speculation really comes down to, like, you know, people hoping, hey, this is gonna be like the next GameStop thing, right, where everyone buys it and it goes crazy high.
Imagine
But
Roblox.
wouldn't it be too high of a price to? Because GameStop was between $5 and $15 when people started
Exactly.
pouring in 2,000 shares. You know what I'm saying?
So this is definitely a bigger gamble.
Yeah.
You know, in my opinion, if you got that kind of money to throw down, it's worth the gamble because no matter what, it's always going to be viable because the amount of player base it has. But for like a long-term investment, like, hey, I want to own this for 20 years and retire kind of thing, I probably wouldn't recommend it just because, you know, at the moment right now, there's no dividends connected to it. There's not even a PE ratio. I would just be cautious. You know, I'm the kind of person that I'd rather look at like an ETF or a REIT. For this, if you got that money to just blow, you're a high roller, yeah, buy like 100 of them. And then once it hits like an $80 or $100 or 120, whatever you're comfortable with, sell it.
So you're talking about when it rises up 10%, then you bow out from that point because it might not get any higher.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're not. Well, I'm not an expert. I don't know about Don and Dio. They seem that way.
Allow me to clarify. I am also no longer. I'm not an expert.
but
Do not listen to me.
The thing about it with gaming is that there are times when you just wish that you could invest into a company that you enjoy, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
by all means, always do your research on the company. If you feel that, hey, this company is going to become something, you know, definitely look into it. But again, you know, you are using real money. and you are investing real money, and they will give you a 1099 form at the end of the year. So trust me, seek someone who can give you proper advice on your spending for that. So DLSS, what's up with what's going on with the DLSS? I think one game that I heard so far that's utilizing it is what's the name of that game? Crysis.
Yeah,
it's definitely using that. But
Crysis.
Here
we go.
What have you been looking at as it relates to the DLSS? Man, that's Titan right there for me.
So the crazy thing about DLSS from NVIDIA is that the AI uses super sampling technique that it just keeps learning to upscale lower resolution to a higher resolution. So even if your computer is a lot weaker or whatever your platform you're playing on, it'll keep increasing. Now the thing is that NVIDIA is only doing PC and Nintendo at the moment, right? So that's good news for them, right? Okay. That's awesome for Switch players going forward who will have this, not with their current Switches, but probably with Switch Pro. But AMD, who Microsoft and Sony use, had their own callback to it,
right?
Fidelity FX super resolution, and it works very similar, and that's pretty amazing when you think about it, because for people who already bought that Xbox Series S or X or PS5, you have things to look forward to, right? So with older generation consoles, once they get to a certain point, is like, all right, you gotta kind of like bow down and get the new one, where this might make these last a bit longer compared to what we usually see, especially that Series S, which when it's using the same technology is really a big upgrade to it. Like, you're saving a lot of money, for pound per pound. I mean, the Series X and the PS5 are going to be stronger, but how much more noticeable it will be to the naked eye and to that that casual player is not going to be that big a deal. Yeah. So
what's funny is that you're talking about this, but this is something that consoles have been implementing for a long time to mimic the PC resolution,
yes.
Right? And now we're seeing the DLSS kind of allowing people with mid-gen, or not mid-gen, but like low-powered PCs. Let's look at Chromebooks, for instance. And not say that would be a thing that you will see it on, but let's say Chromebooks. Chromebooks are very low, like ridiculously low, in my opinion. And but you're saying that the DLSS would then start you off at a comparable resolution and then learn what you're capable of pushing on the device and scale you up.
Yep.
That is cool. That is almost like, what was it? It's almost like in game development, they create this thing where, how you can't, when you look way out into the distance, right? Everything's all blurry and stuff, right? So it's all low resolution because it's not drawing high resolution material because it's so far away. So as you get closer, it starts becoming more, is resolving as high quality as you get close, almost like you're seeing the detail closer you get. So it looks like they've taken that idea and then put it into an AI and say, okay, AI, first analyze the device. Is this device capable of pushing 4K, and at what comparable speed? And then it's kind of like, okay, we start you off at 720. And then every time you stop and go, it's looking at everything around you and then raising up the bar constantly until it just reaches like a benchmark where this is it. This is pretty cool. It's almost like you don't have to touch the high, like when you play PC games, you don't have to touch the high, low, medium resolution stuff. It's like it's all happening automatically in the background. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty cool.
It's just amazing, like how far we're coming, and it shows you the potential that we have to go from here.
Wow,
really cool.
Wow. So we are, we are, we haven't even we've scratched about like 65%, right? So I'm just gonna read off some things because we can't really get into it because we got something else to talk about. But due to the acquisition of Bethesda, we have 20 games that have been released on Game Pass. We have the ESO, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4, Fallout 76. We have the original Doom, Doom 2, Doom 3, Doom 64, Doom Eternal. We have Dishonored 1 and 2. We have Rage 2, Wolfenstein Youngblood, the Old Blood, and the New Order. Elder Scrolls 3, Elder Scrolls 4, Elder Scrolls 5, or we should say Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim. Prey, and lastly, The Evil Within. Those are the games that are available on Game Pass right now that you can play on your Xbox. Some of those are available on your mobile devices and on your PC. Okay?
Yep.
The round table that has happened with
The
Phil
biggest
Spencer.
round table. The roundest table.
The roundest table. There was no table. There was just a big giant scroll in the
To be
middle.
fair, there wasn't actually. Yeah, there was. No, I was quite disappointed by that.
I only started watching it when Dio kind of hinted like, "Hey man, I'm still watching this video." I was like, "What
Yeah,
video?"
I missed a lot of it live, so I have to go rewatch it again.
So apparently Bethesda and Microsoft had a round table, and that round table was specifically for what's going to be happening moving forward with Bethesda and Microsoft. What were your takeaways from that round table? And this is just an open. I'm not going to call nobody. This is open.
I'm gonna let Dio go first. I know he's itching. He's itching to talk about some stuff.
There was a lot of subtle things that, in my opinion, that Todd said and that Phil said that I found pretty interesting, especially more on Phil's. I respected some of the things that Todd said, because Todd, and he's admitted this, more and more as the time has gone with Fallout 76, but the fact that he was able to say, like, there was a litany of faults with the game launching and there was very little that they did right, like his words, I was like, yeah, that's awesome that he was able to say that, right? And give fans that validation. But at the same time, there's a lot of people who are stuck with how the game launched and are not really willing to check it out now, because it's really night and day. The game is so much better. 76, I'm not gonna say it's the best game ever, but it's very fun. Like, there's a lot of people who would probably play it and actually have a lot more fun with it than they thought they would, and that it has more support. Considering how much it's grown now, it'll get even better as time goes. But to me, obviously, what Phil was saying, like the word usage, it was just that it's like, it was like he wants billions of people to experience Game Pass on the Xbox, PC, and console, or whatever. Well, you know what? He even said whatever platform Game Pass exists on. And I was like, yeah, okay. Like, I mean, for you to get billions of players, obviously, I'm not saying Xbox can't do that by itself and PC, but like, does that hint at like Game Pass eventually hitting Nintendo, eventually hitting Sony, because they don't have a real callback? Are there plans in the work for that? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I found that really interesting, like their word usage.
It's interesting that you mentioned that specifically as it relates to Fallout 76, because for someone with his position and stature in gaming to admit that we didn't launch the way we intended to, and we actually had to call out to Microsoft, right? And Microsoft directing them to people who can help them make a released game better. You know what I'm saying? And still hold no credit for it. To me, that's very
because we'd never heard about that before.
No.
And when they said it, was like, oh, yeah, it's weird to see how it. Say weird. It was interesting to kind of see behind the veil a little bit and see, that there is this kind of communication between Bethesda and Xbox, and I think it reinforces that kind of idea that they've been family for a long time, and now it's just kind of married up and official.
And it's interesting you say family, because I didn't know how old Bethesda was. 1986.
Yeah, I didn't know either. It's crazy.
I knew.
1986, bro.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
I'm telling you, and that's older than okay, anyways, when you look at I look at Bethesda differently at this point. They're on a platform right now that they can technically judge any game out there. They bought a studio who basically ushered in first person shooters, and who ushered in open world exploration, and then RPGs. And I mean, and then Microsoft acquires Obsidian, which technically, when you think about it, is like comparable to what Bethesda makes anyway, right? I mean, speak to me, Dio. Was Obsidian a part of Bethesda, or were they working with Bethesda at one point before they like separated and become their own thing? I mean, what was it?
Yeah, they've had partnerships. I mean, pretty much argued to be the best Fallout was Fallout New Vegas, which Obsidian worked their heart on. And to know that they're both owned by Microsoft at this point, it just opens so many possibilities. I mean, even like how you said with first-person shooters, like id Software.
id Software, yep.
And imagine id Software working with 343, right? Like,
that's what he said, right? He
that's a whole new level of Halo. I'm wondering if Halo's going to become a more mature rated game if they like entered into the arena and said, okay, all right, let's go.
I think I did see something a couple weeks ago, and it was a very small film I kind of passed by in the media. But Coalition might have been helping out with if 343 on Halo Infinite.
Okay, wow. So then this begs the question, okay? Because Phil Spencer said he's obligated to making sure that the contracts and partnerships that exist with Bethesda remain until this complete. I said until it's complete because after the contract's complete, then Xbox is going to be fully diving into exclusivity at that point. They're not 100% because of where Bethesda is and what they stepped into. But moving forward, once that contract is over, are we talking Deathloop and Ghost something? What's the name of that game? The Ghost, it's a first person. No, it's not Ghost. No, man, come on, bro. It's a game that's, I think it's either released or it has released, and it's first person.
I know what the game is talking about.
I just can't remember what it is, but those are supposed to be exclusive.
Ghostwire, right?
Ghostwire, there, boom. There
That's the one. Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yeah. So once those are good and out of the way, we're looking at a full push with Bethesda and what they're going to be what they've been planning, because Bethesda plans like all right, I'm done. But Game Pass, well, first and foremost, we're starting to see Xbox and Game Pass in a whole different perspective here, right? And this is interesting because I'm looking at Xbox as how I look at Square Enix.
Yes.
And I'm looking at Game Pass how I look at Steam at this point. Because when Phil said that this partnership was to make sure that these games get onto Game Pass, the Game Pass is no longer an exclusive product to Xbox as a console. My Android device can play it, PC can play it. I mean, it's out there. So, what are you guys thinking right now when it comes? Because I mean, I can see even the name Game Pass. I can see it being changed within the next 10 years. It might become something bigger than just the name itself. Because you already know Microsoft renames things like it's a job out of a hat anyway. But
yeah,
I when they purchased Bethesda, they purchased Obsidian, they purchased Ninja Theory. They purchased Playground Games. That's just 4. I mean, Bethesda is Bethesda is like a couple studios in one.
Yeah.
But those are heavy hitters, major heavy hitters, and now these guys are sharing the same resources, and developing games together to create a better ecosystem for what is Game Pass. What are you guys' thoughts on just that? Because I'm sorry, I know I'm saying because, but a lot of people on the outside assume that Game Pass is Xbox and Xbox is Game Pass, but I'm feeling like Microsoft is separating Xbox from Game Pass, even though they exist in the same ecosystem and it benefits each other in the same ecosystem. Mm-hmm. What are you guys' thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think I can imagine it definitely seems to be kind of separating from Xbox exclusivity. When you look at the 2 years, Xbox haven't just been just Xbox anymore. It's you know, they're trying to include PC, they're trying to include that mobile audience, and I think obviously it's hard to kind of tell, you know, the future of where it's going, but I think considering they've expanded to PC and mobile already, I can see it go to other platforms. I can see these games getting bigger. I can see all these studios working together. You know,
Yep.
I think there's a lot of crazy potential what could happen with Game Pass, man. Seeing all these studios kind of united as one, you know, like they always say, family. Who knows where it's gonna go?
What about you, Dio?
I really think they do have big plans. I mean, one of the first things they said is that they have a 10-year roadmap that Phil and Tom were talking about. And I mean, we've said it so many times on this podcast, like we can see it going cross-platform. We can see it getting bigger and better. We see that their direct competition is not Sony, it's not Nintendo, it's Amazon, it's Google, right? And they're getting the jump on everybody. So I think Bethesda, in the end of the day, is still going to make third-party games. I think there's going to be a lot, because Phil's also kind of said it too, where he's like, where games run better on Game Pass. So there's still going to be third-party games that still jump on the other systems, which is going to be cool. I mean, you know, we see Microsoft does that already with Mojang, right? With Minecraft and Minecraft Dungeons and other games. But I think when it comes to like the big heavy hitters, they're still going to be exclusive.
Can we honestly say third party though? Because technically, we can say that Game Pass, in of itself, is third party, right? Because when I think about it, all these guys gotta do is, hey Phil, we want Game Pass on our system. Boom, it's there. Right, because you know what I'm saying, and then it's exclusive to Game Pass, but you can play it on the platform itself. So it's no longer console; it's a platform.
Yep.
You know, because it's hardware. You know what I'm saying? Almost like we ignore your software because you're gonna be playing on our software. But it's interesting. And something that came across, I mean, as I'm listening, to acquire. What was it? Star Wars and Marvel. Disney spent a huge chunk of money, billions, right? About twice the amount. I think it was twice the amount, 14 billion. I think it was. I might be wrong, but I'll find out. To acquire both Marvel and Star Wars, right? And then Microsoft tells Xbox to buy Bethesda or you know, Phil talks to Satya. Says, here's a check, make it happen, and it happens. And sometimes I wonder, and I think, you know, both you guys, you know, mostly I think Dio because he's into business a lot more, but when you see a company spend a certain amount of money, does that bring some form of assurance that, hey, we see how you're doing and we want to work with you because, we, like Disney puts 14 billion, Xbox puts 7 billion or 7.5 billion, and it's kind of like you're at this level now. You know, for instance, PC gaming. I can't go to a PC game and talk like a PC gamer, right? I'll be called out like in day one. Straight up. I mean, Dio
Yeah.
Dio hit me up straight up. He's like, "Yo, you know this dude is trolling you, right?" It's like, oh, we just having a simple conversation. Like, bro, nah, he's trolling you, bro. Like, come on. Like, being a console dude my whole life, I'm playing single games, and then ESO comes in, and then I'm playing like a multiplayer game. You know, like honestly, yeah, it was an interesting learning experience. Anyways, you know, and then moving on to Final Fantasy 14, but that's neither here or there. But the thing about it is that I would have to learn, I would have to grow, and then be able to speak that language. And sometimes I'm wondering if that money was a language for Game Pass, if money was that language for Xbox, so that the other publishers and the other businesses can start taking them seriously. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, so far nobody has spent over $7.5 billion for anything outside of gaming. You know, I mean, millions, yes. You know, look at Insomniac and PlayStation, and whoever they bought. But this is huge, and you know, to work with Disney, I'm assuming you have to spend a certain amount of money. To work with Paramount Studios, to work with Warner Brothers, to work with these big people, you have to be looked at a certain way. And I think that speaks numbers when you're able to say, here's a check. And there's billions out there. It's interesting. And I'm noticing that. And that's why I'm saying you're yet to see what Xbox is capable of doing, because they still have more studios to acquire.
For sure.
They still have more games to announce. And who is funding those games? Game Pass. Who's funding Game Pass? The consumer. So that's why it is important for us as gamers to really voice our opinion, because we are shaping next gen. Regardless of what any fanboys are saying on both sides of the fence, we are shaping the next generation with our money. Phil made that possible. So, anything else? Anything else you guys got?
With the roundtable itself?
Yeah. Anything.
I mean, it was mostly fluff, right? I mean, at the end of the day, who didn't know the different, branches in Bethesda?
Yeah.
But I had to admit, I don't know if you guys watched it all the way to the end. That I guess it's gonna be like the new Game Pass commercial.
Which one?
There was like a
weekend.
Yeah, exactly that one. I liked it. It was pretty cool. I liked how they edited it. It was pretty badass. It made me want to almost like see like a mini movie of all these different characters like interacting, fighting. Like it almost felt like Smash Brothers, but for Microsoft.
Oh, that
like
would be so cool.
Yeah, it did.
That would be so cool.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Well, actually, it was kind of I guess for me, it was kind of a way of symbolizing this integration of, hey, look, all these places, all these games are in one place and they all exist together now.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was,
So, guys, thank you very much. This was it. Guy, where can they find you, Don? Because you're talking mad Halo on Twitter. Where can they find you? How they can find you?
On Twitter, you can call me at the Don CAG. You can find me on Instagram, the Don CAG. Twitch, the Don CAG.
Nice.
Xbox Live, the Don CAG.
Same here. Ebonics on Xbox, on PlayStation, on Twitch, and on Twitter, Ebonics. And you can also catch us on the Digital Cypha. We also have our own Twitch channel. Feel free to ask us questions. Definitely communicate with us so that we can, bring it into the show. And, of course, we give reference to who Max, unless you don't want to be known. So that's fine. But we just want to thank you guys definitely for coming through today. We had a lot to talk about. Some questions were asked. I know we answered some in the chat, but going back, Lewis mentioned something about the Xbox controller losing signal. I know for a fact that the early adopters or the insiders, Xbox insiders, are testing that as we speak. We're talking about the alpha channel, so it hasn't gone to the omega or beta insiders yet, so they're still being tested. So we're just waiting for that. And then hopefully Jen gets to stream some what is it called? The Evil Within, represent.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully she hasn't given a yes yet, but she said she's into it. So you know what I'm saying. But yes, thank you guys for showing up. We are here again every Saturday at 10 a.m. And this is Ebonics signing out. Don,
peace out.
And Deal.
Thank you guys. Much love.
You guys have a great weekend.